Welcome to part 4 of this Football Manager 2018 experiment where I've created 20 Pep Guardiolas on the FM18 editor and stuck each one of them in charge of the 20 English Premier League teams. So far I've holidayed quite a few years in parts 1, 2 and 3, so please go and check them out first so you can find out what's happened to the Peps so far. Some of them are retired, some of them have been very successful, and we've seen Manchester United and Chelsea dominate the Premier League so far. But in this part 4 I'm going to holiday another 5 seasons to see what's happened to the remaining Guardiolas. So in the past 5 seasons we've seen Chelsea win their 3rd title in a row, then Manchester United won 2 titles in a row before Chelsea returned to the top. But Man City have finally won their 1st Premier League title on this save. They're the first team other than Manchester United and Chelsea to actually win the league. It's been pretty boring, as you can see there. None of the top 3 teams have been a surprise. Spurs managed to finish 3rd this year for the first time, but Emery has led Manchester City to the title. I'm kind of pleased that we've seen a team other than United and Chelsea win it, but it would have been nice to see someone else win it. Yeah, Mourinho retired in 2023, if you remember, and Emery's been in charge for the last 6 years and 13 days now. But he's only managed to win 1 league title. However, he has won 6 cups. He's won the FA Cup. They actually won the Champions League this year for the third time, on this save. They've been very successful in the Champions League, just not so successful in the league. Manchester United and Chelsea have also been it's just been dominated by the English teams, and I don't know whether that's because of Guardiola being in charge of Man United and Chelsea, giving them even more of a chance of winning the Champions League, or whether English teams are a little bit overpowered. And I know a lot of people, that's one of my most common comments on these experiment videos, people saying English teams are too overpowered. But perhaps this time it's because of the Pep Guardiola effect. And by the way, Man City won another final against Man United, 1-0 in the final. So Emery getting the better of Manchester United in that one. If we just go back though, I just want to have a quick look to see who's in charge of Manchester United. Guardiola number 3 is still there after all these years, almost 12 years now. He has won a lot. He's won 7 league titles and 20 cups. Most recently the Carabao Cup last season. Hasn't been so successful in the last couple of years really, has he? He's obviously won the Champions League 2 years ago. So to be fair, it's just been a bit of an off season this year for the first time, but we'll have to see if he actually survives as manager. Maybe they're used to winning something every year, and for him to now fail to win something this season, perhaps that will change. You can look at this team. Dybala's in there, Donnarumma's in there, Ousmane Dembele. They've got Tom Davis, who that's the regen, not the Everton guy. I'm getting mixed up there. But he's probably still spending lots of money. I mean, how much has Guardiola number 3 spent over the years? This year, 224 million. Last year, only 15.75. 157 the year before, 170 the year before. He must have spent like £2 billion, if not more, in his 11 years at the club, because he has spent so much money. It's crazy. There's not that many Guardiolas left. Of course, the real Pep Guardiola has retired from football. 15 is still around, but doesn't currently have a club. If we just look at his history a second, you can see he was in charge of Palace, Newcastle, and then Leicester until last season, but has been without a club since then. He was sacked by Leicester City. Number 13 is in charge of Spurs at the moment. He previously managed Bournemouth for 1 year and Swansea for 6 years, and he's now been in charge of Spurs for 5 years, as you can see. Number 4 still in charge of Liverpool. He's been there the whole time. He's been there 12 years now, so he's just like Guardiola number 3. And number 2. Number 2 has been in charge of Chelsea since the start of this save as well. So there's still 3 remaining. So those of you that said number 3, 2 and 4 in that first episode as to who would last the longest, you guys are currently winning. But we'll have to see who lasts the longest, I suppose. I mean, in terms of managing, maybe 13 or 15 could actually live longer, manage longer than these 3 if they decide to retire early, I guess. But yeah, Guardiola too is having a fantastic time at Chelsea as well. He's been spending money, 112 million this year, 95 last year, 117 the year before. Not as much as Manchester United. Manchester United have completely dominated. In fact, I'm just going to show you the last 5 seasons just so you can see how they finished. So Chelsea won that first season, 2 points ahead of Man City. We saw Hull, Preston and Millwall get relegated. Then look at Arsenal, by the way. They really have been poor on this save. They finished 6th this season with Manchester United winning the league on goal difference ahead of City. They then won it a second season in a row, 10 points ahead of Chelsea. Newcastle, Burnley and Fulham relegated. Then the season after, Chelsea returned to the top of the table. Arsenal actually improved, finishing 5th, but still behind Spurs, as you can see there. And then the most recent season, down in 7th place, still qualifying for Europe. But yeah, they are, on the whole, struggling, aren't they? But let's just go down the other teams. So Spurs have number 13 in charge. He's been in charge for 5 years now. We've seen number 7 and 6 be in charge of Spurs. They both have retired now, which is a little bit of a shame. Leicester City have Laudrup in charge. Of course, they've had 3 different Guardiolas in charge, but most recently number 15 was sacked after 49% win percentage. That's not bad, really. But this season, with Michael Laudrup in charge, they did finish 5th in the Premier League, which is very impressive. Liverpool still have number 4 in charge, of course, having a final time. He's not actually, to be honest. He's managed to win the Euro Cup and the Carabao Cup, but I'm surprised they've held on to him for so long. It might be a reputation thing and they just think they can't get anyone better than this Guardiola, but then you would say the same about all the other teams. Why would they... Like West Ham sacked Guardiola in that first season. Surely if he was a real quality manager, and he obviously is, they should have just held on to him, especially in the Championship. He'd have got them promoted quite easily, I think. So maybe that's why they've held on to Guardiola for. It is a bit bizarre, really, how he hasn't been sacked or left for another club, but there we go. They've not really spent a huge amount of money either in recent years anyway, and that's probably why they finished down in 6th. Arsenal have had 4 different Guardiolas. That's amazing. We haven't seen 16 in charge before, but he was in charge for just over a year, but was sacked before Jason Shackle came in and managed to win the Euro Cup, as you can see there. But they've not been great. In fact, all the Guardiolas combined have not won a single competition for Arsenal, and that's pretty awful. I find it amazing how, I mean, this guy's been their caretaker in between every single time, but they've actually gone through 4 Guardiolas in a row before finally losing the faith in Pep Guardiola and deciding to put someone else in charge. And quite randomly, it's Jason Shackle, but he's been here for 4 years now. Just having a look around at other things, Turkey have won the 2026 World Cup. What an achievement, beating the hosts, Mexico, in the fight. That is incredible. What an achievement for Turkey. I'm just intrigued. Of course, this has nothing to do with this experiment, but a 3-1 win, I can't actually see it, but that is phenomenal stuff. 9th in the world rankings at the moment. Patrick Vieira is in charge, and Mexico finishing 2nd place, 13th currently in the world rankings. That is 2 very unexpected. I mean, I thought Iceland reaching the final was incredible, but this is insane. Turkey winning the World Cup was great to see. France have won the most recent Euros. They beat Turkey in the final. Turkey got to another final. That is amazing. They've obviously produced a golden generation. But I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to holiday just many, many years into the future and have a look to see what happens to the remaining Guardiolas. Of course, it's not particularly interesting now, let's be honest, because we've only got 4 left in charge of clubs. There's potential for 15 to find a new club as well, but everyone else has retired. There's only 5 Guardiolas left. So I'm going to holiday probably another 10 years or so and have a look to see what happens to these guys in the future. Will they stay at these clubs for all eternity and continue to win competitions, or in the case of Guardiola number 4, just stumble along with Liverpool? Will they find new clubs? Will they start to manage Spain or something like that and try and win a World Cup? Or maybe their careers will just float away. But we shall see. But anyway, thank you for watching this part 4. Please leave a like on this video if you're looking forward to part 5. Until next time, enjoy FM18, and I'll see you very soon.